Life is a journey full of mistakes. The trick is to learn from them as quickly as possible and keep moving forward. I've realized recently, over a series of several events, that have made me just rethink some things and change directions a little bit of the way that I want my business and my life to go. My wife and I just recently got approved for a mortgage to get a custom home built, something we've been wanting to do for a long time now. We're finally, getting things worked out. We got our credit fixed up to the point where we could do that, which took some time and discipline, and a lot of changes have to be made for that. There's going to be a lot of new things going on. It's very exciting. We signed the contract with our builder for them to start building. And now we're going to start slowly going through the process. I mean, it's really quick actually, but there's multiple steps. We have to pick the different things, like cabinets, and if we want upgrades for this or that and all that, which is going to keep increasing the price for the mortgage. So we have to be careful and keep everything at a certain amount so that we can stay approved for a mortgage. And those of you that have done this before, you understand what I'm saying, but not to get involved in that too much. Just the point is, it's a big exciting step in our life. We currently live in a townhouse, so we're excited to be able to be paying towards something that we own, not to pay someone else, even though it's been a good experience. And it's nice to call a landlord that's a really nice person when something goes wrong, and he can just get it fixed. We don't have to worry about it, so now it'll be on us and things like that, which so there's pros and cons to everything. But all in all, it'll be great to have our own place, our own house that we can call our own, for our kids to finish growing up in, have our own backyard that we can take care of, plant gardens. We don't have a backyard right now at the townhouse. It's really tiny. There's so many strict rules and all these things. I mean, we can do so many more things now at our house. So it's very exciting. It's also going to be very challenging. We try to do whatever we could to stay in the same school district for our kids, etc. A lot of different things involved with that. There's going to be some changes that have to be made. And I realize now that I need to be available more than I already am for my family, specifically for my son, who's my youngest child. He just turned 11, and I can only imagine what it's like to be him going through all these changes. Boys and girls are two different genders, obviously, and two different personality types, etc. And I know when I was a boy, I would have given anything to have a father in my life, which unfortunately I didn't. So I want to, like I've said before, I want to pay it forward and give my son the father relationship that I never had, so that he can grow up to be a stronger, better man than I can ever become. And just this experience trying to be the best father for him is helping me grow as a person and be the best that I can be, the best man that I can be, which is going to affect my daughter and my wife and my family as a whole in a positive way. So I can see that it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge for all of us, but very specifically my son. Moving is going to be stressful for him. He's got a lot of friends. He's going to have to switch schools, most likely. This is his last year in elementary school, so it's good that we can start him off in a new middle school versus like stopping midway or something like that. But it's still going to be a challenge for him. He's going to have to meet a lot of new kids, and I really think I just need to be there for him. In addition to this whole construction of the house process, and after we move in and getting acclimated to everything, I just think it's going to be, the next couple of years are going to be very crucial for myself and my family. With that being said, I really need to take a hard look at my business plan, my 5-year business plan, and restructure some things. I so desperately thought I needed to have a crew. My business plan was set in such a way that it's a 5-year business plan, so I expected to start hiring employees by year 5. That's what I anticipated doing, and I was building everything to get myself right to that point, and I've been successful at that. But I don't think that's the right thing to do now, because I need to be with my family more. I'm up to 37 lawns, and I wanted to stay closer to 30, because if I can have 30 weekly lawns, then it's easy to maintain them every week. I have plenty of wiggle room that if it's raining, I can do whatever I need to do to rearrange my schedule and not mess up my whole weekend or my whole week. I can be 100% serviceable for my clients, so anything else that they want me to do, I can maintain their mulch beds, flower beds, pull weeds, spray weeds, whatever they want me to do, trim their hedges a couple times a year, keep their grass perfectly maintained and well manicured. I can fertilize, weed control, I can do all these things, for them that I wouldn't normally have time to do now that I'm continually getting more and more customers that are turning into regular weekly clients. So I really think I need to start downsizing that, and I need to just over the winter restructure my business plan, my 5-year business plan, change the completion dates, change the goals for those completion dates, what I'm gonna do when and what I'm gonna get when, and all these things, because I really need to be there for my family, and most importantly my son. And I'm realizing that now. I'm glad I'm realizing it now before things got too carried away, but that's just what I'm gonna have to do. Well, the sun's finally shining. It took all week, it's Friday, for the sun to finally shine. I'll take it. It's better than nothing. Some sun is better than none. And they're calling for rain again tomorrow, so I'm gonna enjoy today while I can. So that's it, another 2-for-1 special, just the way I like them, nice and easy. Took me all of about 27 minutes, if I remember correctly, to knock these 2 yards out. With mowing, I still had to go back and trim an edge after this, but I sped the video up a little bit, edited a couple of sections out where I stopped to move some things out of the yard, and that's it. What you see is what you get.